Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific. 7 p.m. I know. And they call me, for some reason, Chris of the Northwest. And we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're saying farewell to a former president, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Indeed, and a resigning prime minister, I hear. So it's been quite the week.
Yeah. You know what?
Tonight, though, we're talking about something else.
We're not talking politics. Trust me.
That's right.
It's not worth it.
Tonight, we're looking back on the numbers of 2024. Think back with me, will you? Way back to 2024. Because, geocaching isn't about the numbers until it is. So what are the biggest geocaching triumphs you made this last year? Are you proud of your stats? I am. Pop open that email from HQ and follow along with us. Listeners, give us your feedback. Stay tuned to find out all the details. And yes, you'll note, thanks to some technical issues, I'm on a Plan B technical setup today. So here we go. But, we can't get started until we bring in our counting Capuchin. Some say he considers jelly a food group. And others say someone just taught him the meaning of plethora. It meant a lot. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hello, my friends. Good to be here. Good to be back. It's a Thursday night. Best time of the week is when,
Isn't it?
We can just do this, talk with friends, and talk in front of friends who are listening and try and interact with them as best we can.
And
thanks everybody for being in the chat. And we're definitely going to talk about you. Absolutely. And we don't talk about you behind your back. We talk about you in front of your face. That's how we roll. All right. But yeah, other things we're going to talk about is how much we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And that includes our corporate Denali level sponsors, both Landsharks and Cachly. Landsharks is the geocaching and outdoor store. If you didn't win a Sharks trackable tag, well, you can still get your own. They're available online right now at landsharkz.ca. And Cachly, which is the premier geocaching app for iOS, Cachly version 8. Wow, that was harder to say than I thought it would be. Version 8 is the current version. It's out there. Download it, get it running on your iOS, on your iPhone, and you can thank me later. And you can pay Nick tomorrow. Anyways, it's all good stuff. All the different cool features and functions. Find it in the iOS App Store or go to cachly.com. And folks, if you want to know more about supporting this podcast, well, head on over and click that Patreon link on the cachingw.com website.
Thank you. It's later. I thought I'd thank you.
Oh, well, okay. There you go.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
Nick.
We moved the podcast time. Yeah, thanks, Nick. We really appreciate Cachly. I did go through CarPlay on the car today. It's still not there yet, but I don't think we have version 8 quite yet. But it took a long time for him to get approved, and I think it's taking a long time for them to then say, "Oh, let me look at it and approve."
Oh, yeah.
The CarPlay apps are very specific, right? They don't allow everything. So
On the plus side,
Mhm.
at least you're not getting like everybody and their dog who writes a crap app being published through. So
exactly. Well,
Bingo.
there is that. So
It still doesn't work on Android Auto either. Just FYI.
just letting you know.
Yeah, just in case you wondered.
I didn't try it on Android Auto, even though my car
I haven't either,
supports
but
it. I'll have to. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
okay.
Let us know how that turns out, Chris.
Yeah,
I
do.
didn't even get in the car today. You noticed the podcast is a little earlier. You know why? Because as Witsend said, it's later. We're past the start of the year. Podcast starts at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Or like 7:02, but yeah.
Or
in that
7:02,
area.
7-ish.
7-ish.
we're
Yeah,
flexible.
it's more like a guideline, really.
Yeah. And it really depends on, if a computer wants to start, if, the host wants to start, who knows? Sometimes, I don't want to do it. But, last week we said, we did it just for certain people. Well, this week we're doing it for Railroad. He's glad for the time change.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
why we moved it up to 7
Okay.
o'clock.
Awesome.
Yeah, I thought you needed to know that. Also in the chat tonight, you
Mhm.
guys are great. I love the fact that you sit there and you talk with each other. People are missing the hashtag podcast baking and hashtag podcast drinking.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
maybe
haven't
we
done
have to
for a
bring
while.
that back on occasion. What do you think?
Sure,
Sure.
why not?
Yeah. So there's some, we'll get to that in a little bit. There are already some hashtags in there, but it's time for something else.
What's
We've-
that?
We've waited long
What might
enough.
that be?
It's time for the glow.
Ooh.
Now, I've heard some say, what is a glow?
What is a glow?
There you go. Thanks, Doug.
Ooh.
Wow. Did you all hear that or was it just in my head?
It was just in your head.
Okay.
Yeah. I can neither
Wow.
confirm nor deny.
But I was thanking Doug for putting new thoughts in your head. The old ones needed to go.
That's right.
I have the headphones tight across my ears, so it just echoed in the empty space in my
And
skull
you forgot
there.
the tinfoil.
A glow, as some have asked, is the geocaching log of the week. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, that's what makes geocaching better, because I really didn't
That was
do that
dramatic.
line well. You know what? I'm not going back. We're live.
Just keep rolling,
Great
bro.
logs simply make
Lord.
geocaching better. Send an email or a recording, because I'm going to mess things up. So you record it and send it to feedback@cachingnw.com. Better yet, call in to 253-693-TFTC and show us how you glow. Now, I need somebody to call into that number because I don't know if it's working anymore. No, I got an email from Google saying, hey, are you still using this? So
Yeah.
if we're not going to use it, Google wants it back.
Hmm.
Maybe I can sell it for a profit.
Boy, that sounds
yeah.
like a challenge to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely, Doug.
I used to use it all the time, and I haven't been lately.
I
Hmm.
wonder if it would be prize worthy, Chris.
Oh,
If we could start doing a draw from calls that come in.
that would be interesting, right? Everybody who calls in a month, we pick a random one or two and see if Land Sharks can send out a sharks tag.
I bet you they could.
Look at that. Oh, here you go. Keats will call in sometime.
Yeah. Well, then if he doesn't do it, he won't be entered in the contest.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe we can get enough people to call in that it fills the inbox.
That
Nice.
fills up the recording space, and then
Yes.
we won't be able to. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, that mailbox
Just
is
as
full.
long as when you call in, Chris does not pick up.
That has happened. No, I've
It's
turned that
happened to
off
me
now.
twice.
Yeah. I didn't realize what number was calling in, and I just answered the phone. Like, oh, well, hi. How are you?
That's too funny.
Such a friendly answer.
Komakino says we can have a new segment. Calls from the Northwest.
Yeah.
There can be calls from anywhere that are played in the Northwest.
Calls in the Northwest.
Or
Right?
calls to the Northwest.
Oh, there you
Yes.
go.
There we go. All right. Well, speaking of what is a glow and Komakino, am I the
Yes.
only one on the podcast?
Which
No,
end do
no.
you want me to read it? Since
I got it. I wasn't sure if Chris was finished with his intro.
We're all waiting for Chris. Fair
I
enough.
had too much to say. I'm sorry. Move along. Nothing to see here.
Okay, well, this week's glow is from Komokino. Speaking of calls from the Northwest and Komokino, it's from GC1 Mike Echo 43, and it says TFTF.
Hmm.
That's a different phone number. Don't call
Thanks for
that
the
one.
fun.
Yeah. The glow reads, wow, what an incredible cache. Such a sad story. I hope Dave can rest peacefully with his nuts. After finding the cache, I spent some time walking through the mausoleum, getting a favorite point for sure.
I think we should just stop it there and let people
Okay.
wonder.
No?
No?
This is one of those caches glows where it's really important to actually read the description on the cache to have context of what we're reading. But it's also fun to read it without context. So.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, we'll continue.
In my tech limited evening I'm having, I'm not even going to go try to find the description. I'll just continue with the log.
Roll with it, bro.
The log says, here's the full squirrel experience story. I had some free time today to do some geocaching after dropping my daughter off at a local park for her college internship program. There was a multi-cache at a cemetery, and I went to it. The cache had a story about a squirrel who died by being run over by a delivery truck. The story is fictional. And how that squirrel, named Dave, was laid to rest near the mausoleum at the cemetery. I solved the multi-cache with some help from a friend and went to ground zero to find the cache. I was not prepared for what I found as the cache. The hiding spot looked exactly like a burial spot for someone's beloved pet. Don't worry, the cache owner got proper permission to hide the cache at this location. After moving the cover, I found a wooden cremation box that was converted into a cache container. Upon opening the container, I was greeted with a cute little stuffed squirrel toy and a logbook to sign. After signing the logbook and leaving some swag, I pondered about going into the mausoleum. I didn't know anyone who was in there, and it felt a little odd to go in, but I saw some pics of the interior and I decided to go in and check it out. What an amazing building. It's two-storied with a beautiful stairwell and balcony. They had the coolest bookshelves, I guess you'd call it, that held cremation boxes that looked like little books. It was fun to look at these books and see the names and dates of the dearly departed. I explored further into the labyrinth of the mausoleum, and the halls led me back to the back of the building, where I saw a cedar tree that was placed there for decoration. Approaching the tree, I heard the sound of scuttering from a squirrel. A real live squirrel jumped out of the tree and landed not far from in front of me. I was startled to see a real squirrel in the building. It might have come in through an open door or some other opening. The squirrel scampered down the hallway away from me and ran into a flower washing room and hid behind a trash can. I tried to coax it out, but it was too scared and just stayed there. I didn't know what to do, so I left the mausoleum and tried to find help. I gave the cemetery a phone call and talked to someone about the squirrel, and she said she'd notified someone about it. A groundskeeper, we'll call him Mr. R, walked by me. I talked to him about the squirrel, and he wanted me to show him where it was. Took him to the flower washing room in the back, and the squirrel was still there. He opened some doors in hopes the squirrel would use them to leave, and we tried blocking off hallways with chairs to keep it from entering other areas of the mausoleum, but nothing seemed to stop this squirrel. It would run in different areas away from the open doors and would even run up the arches to avoid us. What seemed like a half hour of squirreling around, but was actually only about 5 minutes of nonstop chasing, the squirrel eventually tuckered out, and Mr. R was able to pick it up with a towel. Mr. R carried the tired squirrel outside and let it go. Mr. R and I had a good laugh over that and said our goodbyes. I find it kind of funny that I found a geocache about a squirrel, which led me into a mausoleum to help free a trapped squirrel. Maybe the spirit of Dave the squirrel convinced me to go inside and help his friend. This is one of the most unique experiences I've ever had while geocaching. And it says 4822, which I assume is a find number. Good job.
I was wondering if that was maybe like the squirrel identifier.
That could be too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They are all tagged.
I was going to say, was it tagged? Yeah.
That is quite the story for sure. Komakino, thanks for sending that in. Komakino pinged me with that earlier this week, asking if that could be submitted as a glow. So that means Komakino gets the brand new fancy glow badge.
Yeah, the one I can't show you tonight, but it's there.
But it's there.
But it's there.
So, and he says in his log that there's a photo.
Nope.
So if you, that's
my glow badge isn't up to date. I didn't update mine. It reminds me of the song, the Mississippi Squirrel Revival. Yeah. If you haven't heard it, take a moment. I think you'll enjoy it.
Right now?
Ray Stevens.
Go ahead. Pause the podcast.
Yeah,
we'll still be here.
See, I'm trying to remember even who sung that song, and I don't remember who sung it.
Ray Stevens.
Ray Stevens, that's right.
Oh, that sounds like a Ray Stevens
Yes.
gig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heather said that was a good cache. And CRS98 said, I found that cache for a milestone. A friend, Dan Amber, knew I was going there and had helpfully written congrats on the log earlier that day. Nothing like opening a casket to see your name.
There you go.
Too funny.
Oh, very good. So much fun. Hey, did I mention the time change? 7
What time
p.m.
change?
Well, for us, not
Oh,
the
yeah.
country, not the world. Just caching in the Northwest is now on at 7.
I forgot my watch tonight, so I
Oh,
have no idea what time it is.
The
Technology
thing is, I
is
usually
against you
download
tonight.
I usually download it, so it's Saturday. for me.
Saturday at noon is, I think,
Yeah.
I think actually time change bit me there. I think it's 11 now on Saturday instead of noon. So you're getting it an hour ahead of time.
Oh, that's
Bonus.
interesting.
Mhm.
I thought that was all
Um,
scripted.
What?
It might be UTC rather than Pacific.
Oh, not the time change when we're posting it. I set it up, I don't know, years ago to post at noon on Saturday, and I noticed, I don't know, when I changed the time, I paid a lot of attention to everything. It's like, where are those stinking 9s? I have to find all the 9s. And then that's when I saw, oh, it's posting at 11 now instead of 12. Oh well, it's fine. It's an hour earlier.
Yeah.
People are excited.
There you go.
Starcasher goes, did the internet call and ask you to change the time of the show? Because we were bringing it down.
The
It could be.
elders of the internet.
They know
They-
about this podcast.
They know our names?
They know who we are.
Folks,
That's
if
pretty
you want to get into tonight's chat, and I think you're going to see some interesting things in tonight's chat, use the hashtag numbers. You can spell it with numbers if you'd like to.
Unless
Which
you're
ones?
You decide. And good luck, chat lackey.
Brent.
And of course, you use the hashtag FATAS to bring up anything in the after show. Jump into a little bit of news. We got to start with our thoughts and prayers to those affected by the wildfires. I mean, wow, they seem to be incredibly devastating. And it's not that, a fire and a flood are completely different, obviously, but they both destroy completely, right? Like everything in your house is gone or damaged,
Including your house. Yeah.
including your house in
yes.
some cases. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where all those precious memories of, children, life events, all that is gone. So, just thoughts and prayers with that family. It seems like the death toll has been quite low for the amount of damage done, which is fantastic. But still, there are people who are affected. So
Yeah. And I was just say a comment. Yeah. Thank you. From GSM times 2 for anyone interested. He is fine. The fires are not near Ojai. And it reminded me that I don't know that we've actually officially welcomed our guest tonight yet. So
no, we haven't. We were supposed to do that earlier in the show.
Limax, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. The thing is, it's like kind of like old home week. I'm here. We chat quite a bit anyway during the week, so it's like, yeah, just whatever.
Rolling with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just per the comment from GSM times 2 and Doug, I realize California is a very large state.
Yeah.
But relative, like, are those fires anywhere near where you are? Or?
Oh no. They're I'm in Northern California.
Okay.
So yeah, no. I have quite a few friends in Pasadena though, and I have been in touch with them, and for the most part everybody's okay.
Good. That's
Good. Skyhawker says, my daughter's house is in the Eaton evacuation zone. Evacuated 2 nights ago. House next door burned.
Oh, dang.
So it's real. I mean, it touches people's lives. So
Well, and I think more often than not, and I apologize, I just don't know much about how that emergency is being managed. But quite often, at least in British Columbia, when you have those kind of emergencies, there are funds that you can call into or give online to help support the families that are displaced. So I'm sure there must be something of that nature for these folks.
Yeah, I have seen something online,
Okay.
and I don't recall on which service I saw it, but yeah.
Well, I was going to say it's odd that I haven't seen anything, but maybe I haven't been, following as closely.
I'll almost guarantee if you go to the Red Cross US
Yes.
website that there'll be something there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So with that being said,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about geocaching
Okay, that's what we're here for.
by the numbers, right? Because geocaching isn't about the numbers.
Except when
Until
it is. Yeah. Sorry, I saw your line there, Chris.
My line is, what is a geocaching? No, wait. That's a glow. You can't just insert that word into that, a random word into that question anywhere you want.
No.
Kind of feels like you did. So
Yeah.
That's right. Now, we're going to give you a chance to tell us about your geocaching numbers for 2024 and compare that possibly to your previous years. That will be interesting, right?
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're just going to jump into some of this, right? So, Geocaching HQ sent out an email, I believe, to all premium members today with your stats and numbers for the year.
Okay.
Right? What did they actually call that? That was called Geocaching Charted.
Right. Yeah, they did the same thing last year.
They've
Yeah,
done
and
it.
it's very similar to what they did
Yeah.
last year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Geocaching charted. There we go. I haven't looked at this yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they give you lots of detail. Number of finds, the oldest cache you found, images you posted, your first image and your last image of the year, to see how
Good
much
thing that you said
changed
of the year, because
of the
Of
year.
the year.
To
It's
see how
kind of
much you
funny.
changed.
For some reason, Piffle Bear was with me at both shots,
But nowhere in between.
but nowhere in between. No. No, she is in the first one with me because it was a virtual cache. What a friend of mine actually used his virtual rewards to create a cache in downtown Livermore at the Livermorium Plaza, which is named for the element that was named after Livermore.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It is a
Livermorium?
thing. Yeah, Livermorium.
Okay.
Yeah, because Berkeley had one, Livermore had to also.
Well,
Or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember.
But of course.
Yeah. And then the last one actually was taken actually from the top of Boot Hill. And actually that was that was the glow that I sent in a few weeks ago where we had a MacGyver or something to get down the cache.
Oh, yes.
Right. Fun.
My first image of 2024 was at the gum wall.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've smelled minty ever since then, and I can't figure out why. Maybe I should wash my hands.
I apparently didn't upload any photos because that whole section was missing from my email. So.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, and I was curious, right? Because they have, I think, obviously, well, I say obviously to me, that there's probably stuff that's scripted. So depending on what range of numbers people have for the different things, it'll have different little snippets. So yeah, it is kind of curious. It would be fascinating to learn a little bit more, only because a few of us are kind of gearheads, but
Mhm.
what the coding or scripting is behind this. But some neat stuff. And Doug, I mean, we brought you in because you're our math and stats guy. Was there
Sorry, you've been
anything?
pigeonholed.
I have been pigeonholed. I mean, yeah, I get brought on once a year to talk
Type
numbers.
guy.
Sorry, see ya.
Doug, when you went through the numbers, was there anything that stood out to you from a math perspective that was like, oh, well, that's interesting if we look at that?
Okay, are we talking about my personal, or are we talking about the other blog entry that geocaching sent out?
Well, honestly, either.
Well, what I did find interesting, and I actually did mention this to Chris earlier. The numbers are going down, which I found very interesting. I just because I ended up in a rabbit hole, and I think there might have been a cupcake involved. I don't remember anymore. I actually
Hashtag podcast baking.
I actually looked not only at this year's, but I looked at last year's and the year before. So I've got numbers from 2022, 2023, and 2024, and I threw them up in a spreadsheet. And the number of geocachers that have found a cache has been steadily declining, actually, since 2020. Yeah, 2020 was the peak.
Right,
So
pandemic. People need to get out, and they find this quirky new game.
Yeah,
Let's try that.
right.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the average number of caches found per geocacher has gone up.
Which tells you there's a finite number of caches to find,
Yeah.
and it's diluted by the number of cachers.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's also interesting though, because I think we had noticed over the COVID period, the number of people going out and playing the game had significantly increased, or well, maybe not significant, but had increased. And I think you're making a good point, Doug, that maybe that number's dipped down, but the average fines per user is up, which would make sense that if there's fewer, let's call them casual players,
Yeah.
that would drive the per cache numbers up. Interesting.
Right. Yeah, it was actually kind of interesting looking at all of this. The total geocachers hiding caches has actually also gone down. Actually, I take that back. It went down from last year. I'm looking at 2022. It was 69,661. No, it has been going down. My mistake, because it's 2023 66,000, and this year is 59,000. So, but let's see, the total first, actually even the total people hiding their first cache has gone down too, but that kind of goes with the numbers. But it's like, I can actually say in 2024, I am part of that hiding first cache people, because I actually did finally hide my first cache last year.
Wow. Congratulations.
It only took me 20 years. I mean,
Well,
so I can wait another 20 before hiding the next one.
exactly. But now you know what a good cache looks like, and then you can go out and put something in a lamp skirt and say, this isn't a great cache, but there it is.
Yeah,
It'll
Right.
do.
it's a bison at the bottom of a fence post. I mean, and it's already gone missing once.
Oh no.
What I find interesting. Okay, so we talked about the total geocachers hiding caches, right? It's gone down. 2022 it was 69,000. 2023 it was 66,000. This year it's 59,000. But that's commensurate with geocachers hiding their first cache. But the percentages there are the same.
Yes.
Right? So we're looking at a third of the geocachers who are hiding caches in the year are hiding their first cache that year. Right? So if you want the numbers, in 2022, there were 69,000 total geocachers hiding caches. 23,000 of them hit it for the first time. 23, it was 66,000 with 21,000 hiding for the first time. And this year it was just shy of 60,000 with 20,000 hiding for the first time. So a third of the caches that are put out there are by new hiders.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I did find interesting though also is the number of cachers hosting an event went up.
Oh, that's all because of
yeah.
CBEC Tribe.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's right. If you're going to host 50 own events in the year, plus you've got to do something with the WSGA. Okay,
She's totally skewed the results there.
that has to be it. Yeah, that explains why it went up by over 2,000.
Well,
There are certain cachers that skew the numbers. Let's just face it.
It is funny though. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And kudos to CBEC Tribe for setting that goal and going after it and achieving it this past year. But I have definitely noticed in the last year, maybe 2 years, but definitely this past year, in our area, a significant uptick in the number of events hosted.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting. So it's
Yeah.
interesting to see that it's more of a global phenomenon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been attending an event for a week for quite a while now. Let's see, we didn't have one this week, and going forward, I can't for reasons. We're not going to get into that because it doesn't belong on this podcast. But I think we're going to see a lot more events this coming year because everybody's going to be putting out their CCE events.
Right.
Or those
I've
are
got 2
2-hour
this
long
weekend.
events.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't see more events. Maybe we'll see more of a focus on those longer events.
Maybe so.
Oh, normal events replaced by CCEs?
Could be. No, that definitely could be. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it'll be
didn't you-
interesting. The other interesting thing that I found with this, I mean, this is going back past years. It's no surprise this year that February 29th was the day that had the most fines on it
Mhm.
in 2024. It makes sense.
Oh, people planned months in advance for that day.
Right.
Years in advance.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. They had 4 years to work on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wits End, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just thinking, didn't you, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you have to host an event to qualify to host a CCE? So
Yes.
that could also contribute to the uptick in number of events.
You
Absolutely.
had to hide a cache and you had to host an event.
Yeah.
I did one of those two things, which is why I don't have one.
I'm going to throw out there CCE is community celebration event.
Yeah.
We've got asked on that before, so
Yeah.
I'm just tossing it out there to let you know.
I
Sorry.
bet you beat Limax. I did neither of those things. So I also am not going to host a CCE.
That's fine. And since I talk in TLAs all the time, CCE just comes out.
Exactly. And
I
we
see.
all understand it, but I'm just tossing it out. Hey, Sprouter. Hey, Sprouter. Good to see you. I think we moved the podcast up earlier so you could watch. Sprouter wants to know if Adventure Labs had an effect on the total.
I don't think it did because
It
this
did for
says-
me.
Yeah. But this also says geocaches. It does
Right.
not say geocaches in Adventure Labs.
Well, that's a good.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's like I hid my first Adventure Lab a couple years ago, but I hid my first physical geocache this year.
Well,
In my
it's very-
email,
Yeah,
it says Adventure Lab caches were your top cache type this year.
Mine was traditional.
Same. It's interesting though because what I was going to say is the geocaching charted the individual email. Those numbers that they sent does include your AL fines, the total number of fines for the year.
Yeah.
But we're speculating that maybe yes, you did. We're speculating that maybe the overall statistics HQ released may not actually include AL found by cachers.
Isn't that considered a cache find? You're right. It could be. I'm assuming that a cache find is a cache find is a cache find.
Yeah. But I mean, it says it found at least one geocache. I mean, they're very clear to say geocache in each of these statistics. And that's why I'm thinking that it would not include Adventure Labs in this case.
Wits End, Star Cacher is right there with you on that.
Oh, yeah.
That thought. Event numbers went up mostly because of the requirement to host an event to get a CCE.
Yeah.
And for those of you who did not get a CCE, just Carlos says he also did not, but has event ideas now for 2025. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Where was I going to go?
We have no idea.
my brain just completely shut off in the middle of what I was about to say.
That's part of the fun of a live podcast, my friend.
Well, then let's hit some listener
Yeah.
Sure.
input. Caching Cant said, in 2023, I had 1,096 finds. In 2024, I had 1,632.
Wow.
So his numbers
Wow.
went up a lot. And thanks for using the numbers in numbers.
Yeah, that was very
That
clever.
was
Just want to
wonderful.
let you know I noticed. Keith says it was interesting to see the oldest cache I found. It was a cache that was clearly a fresh container, but it had been replaced. But hey, the listing was from 2001.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was just looking at what my oldest was. It was happened to be a virtual cache. And, oh, I know. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, that does look familiar. Yeah. It's up in Columbia, California, which is a state park that is still set up as if it was an old gold mining town.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an interesting one. This is not the way I cache, so I find it interesting, and maybe I'm missing out on something. Starcacher says I've not logged 80% of my finds for 2024.
Wow.
For the last half of the year, I've only logged my solo FTFs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different. So that
And,
would,
and
those
and I
stats
wonder
would
why.
look different for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
So Starcacher, if you've got the opportunity, tell us why you haven't logged them. Do you have personal logging requirements that it just takes a lot more effort? Or do you not log them from a phone? What's your process? And I'm just curious because I'm a curious person.
To contrast, I've never logged a solo FTF. So
I have
There's that.
once.
So I'm going through the charted email again and just looking for things that kind of pop out at me. Another one, and so we were just talking about this a little bit. It would be interesting to hear from our live listeners what the oldest cache they found this year was. 'Cause
Mhm.
that's one of the first stats that you get reminded of, and it's cool because I'm looking at this, and at first I was like, which one is that? And then all of a sudden it all came flooding back to me, the whole road trip around it and everything. Camel's Prairie Stash was the oldest we found last year. And wow, what a fun trip to get up there to that. Yeah, great memory. So I think that's one of the things that I would assume is the intent of sending the email out in part.
Is that Idaho?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which part of Idaho?
The north.
Okay.
Up in-
Up in the
Panhandle?
Up in the Panhandle. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
get up to the Panhandle all that often. I spend myself I down using the lower 40 or however we want to put it.
If I'm not mistaken, that's a mountain bike cache. So
I believe so.
I think it is, yeah. So here are some of the oldest. Heather found GC28 in Illinois while my husband was at a work conference.
awesome.
Nice.
Is that Beverly?
I think that's what that is.
Why do I know that number? Wow. Because I'm
Well, because I think it was Illinois that gave it away. Because
That's
that's
true.
Illinois.
Cache Canada says my fines are drastically reduced from previous 2 years. 2341, so 2341 in 21, 2105 in 22, and 1333 in 24.
Well,
See, I'm an order of magnitude lower than that.
but it's also about like the experiences, right? And so I know for Cache
Exactly.
Canada, they've been doing a lot of traveling this year. So
Right.
they've probably
Yeah.
seen some awesome places.
Brylang says GC16 was his oldest, with a
Yeah.
total of 4184 cache finds, 4,184.
That's a lot.
He also said a good number were adventure stages, but I don't remember where that is.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking,
we
looking
go.
through everything. So
Out of his 4,000, let's round to 4,000 finds, 1,100 were adventure lab stages.
It's a lot.
yeah.
Was that your top cache find? Dora Moore says my oldest was GC19 Charlie 4, which I found on a camping trip with team Read My Lips. Worth noting, I'm not a camper. And apparently she's not a boater either.
No, well, she is. but-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For Bryling, a top find was traditionals.
Hey, pull up Trexer's comment there.
Let's see. I don't know where I am. Hang on. Oh, that,
There.
okay.
So Trexer's oldest is GC7 Bravo.
I'm expecting more.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
there's a
Tango
state.
824.
At Table Mesa in Arizona. Says it was a 2-hour ATV ride over rough terrain to the middle of nowhere before a hike without a trail to get to and dig these coordinates, guys. North 3400.000, west 112.00.000. How cool is that?
That is
Wow.
that is very cool. I'm gonna have
Wow.
to find somebody who has an ATV so I can go out and find that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Well, an
in
ATV
Arizona.
and then followed by a hike.
Without
Yeah.
a trail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you can just use the your compass, right, on your phone or GPS, because it's going to be easy to find those numbers.
In theory, yes.
Yeah, especially with no cell coverage, I'm sure.
In the middle of
Well, the
nowhere.
compass still works.
Oh yeah, the compass would still work. Yeah.
CRS98 said his oldest was GC57.
Cool.
Yeah.
Keats, his oldest was GC2100. Skyhawker was GC5F.
There you go.
Heather hopes to find the cache that shall not be named on this podcast.
Nice.
In
It's a
this
nice hike.
in
Enjoy
the-
yourself.
I'm hoping, since I'm in better shape, I'm hoping I can make the hike up to that sometime.
You can. It just take
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah.
There's no rush.
Oh,
It's
no.
steep.
No, when my daughter and I were up there, I barely made it through the tunnel and back. So, I think, the next trip up, that's going to be on my goal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good goal. Hey guys, I'm scrolling down through this email some more, and I came to another interesting stat that I'd love to hear what people think about this and what their numbers look like. And it's the number of favorite points you awarded to
Mhm.
geocaches this
Mhm.
year. So yeah, I'm looking at my number, but I'm really curious what other people's numbers are, and it's interesting. What I haven't done, 0. Okay, Jim's number is 0. But I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play, and of course, that opens the whole topic about what is a favorite worthy cache, which is obviously a different show for a different time. But
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, like how generous are people with their favorite points?
Well, I gave out 18, but I just actually looked the other day. I think I only have 2 favorite points right now to even award. So I do give them out generously when I feel it is favorite worthy. And of course, this isn't that kind of podcast, at least not this week. So
Who knows where it's going to go?
I thought it was interesting because I accidentally looked at my souvenirs and I earned 17 souvenirs this year and gave away 18 favorite points. So
Nice.
Good job.
You
Yeah.
earned one more souvenir than me. I got 16. Okay,
got
let's
3.
stick with favorite points before we go to souvenirs. We've got lots of feedback.
We do.
And Limax, Heather might want to schedule something with you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I seriously do not know when I'm getting up to Seattle again.
Well, you got a
there's-
hiking partner now when you do,
That's
right?
right.
Oh,
That's right.
I know. I know. Yeah.
Okay, so Brian Lane gave out 288 favorite points.
Wow.
Wow.
Incredible.
Doramore gave 125. Keats did 45. Sprouter did 83.
Caching Cants is up above. They
Did
did
I?
you missed it. It's okay. They did
Skyhawker did 167.
167.
Caching Kent says, believe I was awarded 86.
Oh,
Oh,
I was reading
nice.
it the wrong way. Okay.
Yeah.
No, not I
Yeah.
was. He said I
No,
believe
I awarded.
I awarded 86. So
Okay.
Oh,
gave out 86.
Okay.
yeah, sorry. I read that wrong.
So I'm also looking at these people that gave out that many favorite points. I mean, they also found an order of magnitude more caches than I did this year.
Mhm.
And
Fair
of course I'm an order of magnitude above wit's end. So
Yes.
Well, and I guess that's the thing, right? Is like it would be interesting, I guess, to do sort of a ratio of your total number of finds and your number of favorite points awarded. But still, I guess people can probably have a good sense of how often they award favorite points out.
I'm going to have to add another column to the spreadsheet.
GSM
Oh, darn.
2 awarded 152. Just Finding Our Way gave out 168 favorites.
Out of 2,000 finds, that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
CRS 98 gave 76 out of 1,053 finds. Heather gave over 250. Wow.
Awesome.
Monkey Cakes gave out 27, but that's 10% more than my finds. Oh, that's
Was it
10%
more than
more than
my
10%.
finds.
Yeah.
I'm like, how can you give out more favorite points than you found?
Somebody's been hoarding them for a while.
The math don't work.
Apparently, I'm selfish. I only gave out 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see. People are saying how many they have available. I have to go look at my stats.
Komikino gave 20 this year. Said, as that data keeps rolling in.
I have 130 available.
There you
It's
go.
like
Komikino gave 20. Skyhawker has 2,200 favorite points to give.
Oh my gosh.
okay, so
Seabeck Tribe has 114 to give. Go to your stats page, your profile page, and scroll down.
see in Cache it says I've got 2/3, but I think it's supposed to be 2 out of 3, which doesn't even make sense to me either because I believe I've got two favorite points I can award right now. And I've actually just been not finding caches either.
Okay.
Hey, Chris.
Komikino gave 20, and Sprouter has 66 to give. So
There you go. Chris, there's a comment in there from Seabeck Tribe. Is that a spoiler or a feature announcement? I hadn't heard this.
I hadn't either, but she is a WSGA representative. She may have inside information.
Are we allowed to say this? Oh, gosh.
Well, I'm going to say it with a caveat, right? We haven't heard it yet. Going Ape is happening August 9th, 2025, which may be a great weekend to do both. So
Well, we-
typically on that Going Ape event, if it's held in the same place that it always has been, there's like a 6 o'clock hike up to the cache shall not be named. You get all the ones along the way, and you're not moving at a rapid pace because you're in a stream of people moving up. So that really is nice. Oops.
That's good to know. I mean, I don't hike with groups
Mhm.
as a rule because I am usually the one that's lagging behind. So I do like to hike either solo or with one other person.
Mhm.
And it's actually usually not Piffle Bear. It's actually usually the Artful Fetcher that I'm out hiking with, and we're going bird watching.
Nice.
So
I love it.
Heather wants to confirm. Did you mean 6 a.m.?
Did
Yes.
I say 6 a.m.?
well, it would be better than 6 p.m. trying to get up there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. And
Um,
Trexer confirms. Breaking news. There you go.
Breaking news right here. Caching
Hey.
Pants can confirm Ape August 9th.
Awesome. Put it in your
Fantastic.
calendar.
I love that event.
Yeah, seriously, I actually might be in Montana at that time. That's about the time we take the Artful Fetcher back to school. So I don't know for sure.
Well, that's perfect timing. Just pop on over.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. Missoula to Tacoma isn't too bad.
It's about an 8-hour, 10-hour drive.
Yeah, but yeah, with Piffle Bear having to get back and teach,
Going Ape is the week before the block party in Olds, Alberta. What about New Alberta?
Nope. It's just in the old part.
Okay.
What about Oldsmobile?
New Olds,
That's what you go to the event in.
That's in Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know what? We're going to have somebody from the WSGA, whoever is the official term, because it's been a woman for the last several ape events, is the Ape Queen.
Yes.
So whoever is the ape royalty, we'll have to have them on to talk about this.
Is that royalty du jour or royalty du
Do
Annual?
on
do on?
do
Yeah,
year
yeah.
of
I was
year.
trying to remember what I couldn't remember what year it was. It's been a while since I've tried even to
Anno,
study French. Yeah, anno. That's right. Yeah,
because you'd use Latin, not French.
yeah, that's right.
But it's du jour is French of the day.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair point.
So is Dijon, but that's a whole different topic.
That's right.
It's like my name's Latin anyway, so
Yes.
Climax.
Limax is Latin.
Okay, let's get some other numbers out of this chart, shall we? We'll do one more. So the total number of favorite points has gone up and kind of stayed there. It was 26.5 million in 22, 34 million in 2023, and 33 million in 2024. The percentage of points awarded, this I find interesting. The percentage is 12%, 10%, 9%, almost 10%.
Going-
Yeah, and actually the total awarded has gone down as well. I mean, very, very slightly because
Mhm.
they're all. Well, actually, no. There again is like 2023 is the outlier because it went 368, 398, 368. So
So this
apparently,
is-
2023 was a favorite year.
if the
Mhm.
number of newer
Favorite points are
cachers,
going up.
but the number of newer cachers is going down.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You also have to be a premium member to get favorite points.
True.
So
Yes.
yeah, and I've actually been a premium member since I first signed up. Yeah, way back in 2004, back in the dark ages.
So if you hit those power trails and you're just raking in the favorite points, you tend not to give out a favorite point on a power trail. So that means your
No.
percentage immediately drops, right? So
Yeah. It's like, you just need to go through southwestern Idaho. I mean, they've got power
Mhm.
trails of over 800 caches. You can pick up 80 favorite points very easily.
Yeah, and fair enough. Like a lot of us, we gain a lot. So I'm pretty generous with my favorite points that I give out because we'll occasionally do a numbers run or just some road out somewhere because we like to drive our finds up towards milestone numbers in advance of a trip, so that when we
Mhm.
go somewhere new, we can use that as a milestone location. That's just how we like to play part of the game. But in order to do that, sometimes we are going out with friends and doing a weekend somewhere, doing a few hundred caches. And yeah, you're not really awarding many favorite points for those ones. So you're every 10, you get another point. So yeah, you're right, Doug. It can count up pretty fast.
Yeah. I was just actually thinking, it's like I haven't gone on one of my epic road trips recently to find geocaches. Like I used to do that quite a bit, and just haven't done it at all lately. It just hasn't felt right to do it.
Fair
well,
enough.
there you go. Well, one of
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah,
Hey.
one of these days.
Let's talk about hosting an event. We've already mentioned that here, that, Seabeck Tribe is totally
Skewed the numbers.
skewed the numbers
Mhm.
this year. But when we look at the number of geocachers hosting an event,
Yeah.
it's significantly less than the number of geocachers who hid their first cache. I believe there's a little trepidation in hosting an event,
Oh, totally.
right?
Yeah. There's quite a
even-
bit of trepidation in hiding a cache too, which is why I didn't do one for 20 years.
You know what?
We're
Let's
all
unpack
assuming
that, shall
quality
we?
of that
Why don't
cache
you Why don't you lay back? We'll talk and determine what's going on here.
Oh wait,
The
my
doctor
chair
is
does
in.
not. My chair does not recline.
Okay.
But yeah, that's an interesting point, right? About
Mm-hmm.
hosting versus placing. Yeah, and I think people are much less intimidated, except for Limax, about placing a cache versus hosting an event, because I think there's definitely, if you're a new, like, let's think about it, like new cachers. We talk about this all the time. New cachers place geocaches of varying levels of quality. It happens all the time, but they generally don't host events, right?
Right.
And I think the other thing that's interesting, sorry, I was just the other thing that's interesting to me is generally it's kind of the same crowd hosts the events. Like you don't usually have like a wide diversity of people in your geocaching community all host events.
Mhm.
There's usually you count them on two hands number of people in your area who are the event hosters.
Right. I've been to events of varying quality as well. Right.
Yeah.
Fair
Um,
enough.
So we're seeing, 2022, 13,000 people. In 2023, 12,000. In 2024, 14,000. So 14,800 hosted an event. And I think that was, for that CCE award. But we're still less than a percentage point of all the cachers,
Mhm.
right? Less than 1%, 7.76, 0.7, 0.8%.
There you go. Sprouter's hosting his first event in 9 years in just a few weeks.
Nice.
You'll have to tell us the event, the geocache number for that, and we'll all try to crash your party.
There we go.
Our friends Cache Canada up here, they attended 25 and are hosting their first of the year in a week and a half. So there you go. Some more event hosting going on. Heather hosted an event in Randall, Washington. Only one person came, and they went to find Shellkirk Center, the Triad after that. Fun.
Oh yeah. We found that on our way down after leaving Seattle. My daughter and I went by that one so I could find it, because I had made sure to find all three of the other pieces before going in to find that one.
Neat. Cool.
Yeah.
And you didn't need an ATV and a long hike to get to it.
No, I had a Subaru Forester.
There you
In
go.
the forest.
The Chevy Impala would not have made it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not making it, Limax, we would not have made it through this show without you. So thank you so much for putting these numbers together. There's more in there that we didn't talk about.
No, but I will say briefly, the leaderboard I found very interesting this year. It's the same 5 countries that were there last year, except some of them switched places.
Oh yeah.
Let me guess. The U.S.,
Germany,
France, Czechoslovakia,
Czechia, yeah.
I'm going to go with Canada.
I don't think we would have made the top 5.
You didn't make the
No.
top 5?
There's not
No.
enough population.
Yeah,
No.
you're right. So what
Remember, as we said
Another
last year, 4 out of the
European
5 had white and blue
Yeah.
flags.
so that would be France and Great Britain?
No,
Okay.
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Oh, now
Would
that's
not have considered that one. You're right.
Well, yeah, and the way I look at it, it's like, okay, this year, Germany was first, United States was second, Netherlands third, France fourth, Czechia fifth. Last year, it was Germany first, US second, France was third, Netherlands was fourth, and Czechia was fifth. So,
Germany,
and
the only one offering different colors in their flag.
right, right, and the ones with the most hides, the top 3 did not change. It was still United States, Germany, and France. However, Canada went down a spot, and Great Britain went up a spot this year. So the Great Britain was fourth, and Canada was fifth, and hiding new geocaches.
Now, isn't that interesting that when it comes to the top 5 finding countries, we don't make the list. When it comes to top 5 hiding, we do. That surprises me.
It's a very interesting thing. And I think in the case of, the most finds, I mean, Netherlands, Czechia, and France are all very close to Germany. And as we know, Germany is very gangbusters for geocaching.
Yeah. And Germany has a lot of influence in the European community. So I would assume that carries over into their hobbies as well.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, that's been fun.
Yeah. Anyway, I just had to point that out right quick. Yeah, I know whether I'm dragging the show on.
Whether we want to or not.
No, I think it's been good. It's been
#geocached.
There you go. It's been and we're getting the cache that should not be named. One more thing, hey, just speaking because we were talking about the Netherlands. Three Hams in a Row. Throughout says Holland is saturated with geocaches, and when my wife was there in September, every physical cache she stopped for was assisted, unrequested by a passing local. That is awesome. I love it. There you go.
Love it. And just in case you want to know, Heather's found one there too.
Aha.
Fantastic.
Well,
All right.
she found it in Holland, not in the Netherlands. Oh, Limax, thank you again. You know
You're
what?
welcome.
We're going to have you on to talk about geocaching without any numbers.
What to talk about?
I don't know, but we'll
better
have
get
to do it
that
just to
trip planned
break the
up
trend.
north.
We'll see what we can do.
There you go.
Once again, thank you. And folks, thanks for
Indeed.
tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
For sure. And we want to thank, not only thank all of you who are listening and watching, but those who are supporting us, particularly our corporate Denali level sponsors. That would be Landsharks and Cashly. LANDSHARKZ.ca is the geocaching and outdoor supply store. Check them out online, and they're shipping those orders daily. And for all your geocaching iOS adventures, download, install Cashly. Cashly is the geocaching app for iOS. And we want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters, which of course, Landsharks and Cashly, but also, and I saw them earlier in the chat, Cool Cow Cachers and Hawaiian Mile. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
Yes, indeed. Just like Genies,
Kitty Quest.
Seebeck Tribe,
CRS 98,
Subway Mark.
Logwork,
Terrible Teas,
J-Car.
GeoNav Amateur,
working up to a pro there. Trexzer,
See, an amateur or more of a journeyman at this point?
oh, it's an inside joke. We love to just rib them with that. So,
How about the mother of the glow, Dora Moore?
Butterfly Girl,
Ken, whoever your caching name is,
Kid Vegas 19.
Just Carlo,
BC Rock Crawler,
You talks to rocks.
found your cache this past year, mountain bike,
Green Words,
And Teus.
LG 9000,
GSM ×2,
I'm never sure how to pronounce this because it's in a different language, but I think it's like Leah Max.
Limix,
Limix. Oh, that
Lemox.
Lee
There you go.
Max. There we go. Okay.
Flagman,
Railroad,
Team Noltex.
Hackerdoc,
Wet Coaster,
Whidbey Island Gal.
the Camp Clan,
Gas Station Tuna,
Peach of Washington.
UDAC,
M-Nerve,
Korsgat.
Boomer 365,
Geobirder,
Geocaches.
Skyhawker,
Just Finding Our Way.
Getting back on his feet. MC3 Cats.
yeah, heal up soon. And finally, B Pendragon.
Alrighty. Thank you, Limax, for joining us. If people want to talk numbers more with you, how can they find you?
Best way would be through the messenger on the geocaching app.
Alrighty.
Works every time. Well, I like that. Folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. So if you like the show, please click on the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. If you don't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. Give us a table of numbers and we'll talk about it. But if you like the vibe, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a review. If you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. And of course, you can call in to 253-693-TFTC, mostly to see if the number still works, and to leave us a comment, ask us a question, or give us a favorite point any time of the day or night. And yeah, help us remember when to start the show next week. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. This show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2025 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for. I knew I hit it too soon.
Gotta work on that timing.
At least it's working.
Well, you're
That's
not quite 600 episodes in, so.
Yeah, I know. I'll get it right.
Hey, did you see Lost Ken's comments there in the chat?
I think I'm that Ken.
Then he follows
What
up.
was lost
nice.
is now is found.
I thought that I fixed that, but I got lost.
Well, thank you so much. That's funny.
Very cool. So, what do we got for the after show?
Boy, there seemed to be a lot.
It did
It's
things
not about the numbers. It's about the stats.
indeed.
Statistics is not math.
No, you can say anything you want to with statistics.
Yes.
Podcast dinner. One pot creamy marry me chickens or chickpeas has just been finished.
Now, is that
Interesting.
consumed or is that that it just finished cooking?
Ah,
Oh,
that's it.
And
I'm gonna have to Google that.
did
recipe.
somebody get married over this? Was there a proposal during this dinner?
Yeah, right. Clearly a proposal.
Well, I mean, I finished up the last of my Italian wedding soup that I had
Oh.
made a few days ago.
Oh.
So,
I am sensing a theme.
yeah,
It's that
I
time of
finished
year.
off the leftover ham from Christmas tonight. So
Awesome. Good job.
Hashtag podcast drinking from Keats. He's drinking a Fresca.
fresca.
Mhm.
Keeping it fresh.
And Kitty Quest is drinking a cherry Coke.
Nice.
What
Brian
else
Lang,
we got? Brian
Lang
Lang's drinking a...
Snaglios. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you had it. Thank you. I was going
Drinking
to
a
struggle.
Snaglios spiced oatmeal stout from Parallel 49 Brewing Company up here in Vancouver.
okay,
Ooh.
that is, yeah, I thought that was the Vancouver. Yeah,
Spiced oatmeal. You could drink that for breakfast.
It's an oatmeal stout. It is a breakfast beer.
Mhm.
Keats
I remember
Is
them
it
being
ever
really
good?
hearty.
podcast baking going on. He's baking a pizza courtesy of the classy aisles of Wallace Mart.
That's funny. You know, just because the way he spelled Isles at first, I thought it was like, oh, like Wallace Island. No. Okay, I got what's going on there.
This came in from Facebook at the beginning of the show from Vera. What's the first thing to do to start geocaching?
Probably call your son and tell him that you're going to torment him.
Okay.
I would say subscribe to a
Wait,
podcast.
that kind of Kennedy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Thanks for listening.
there you go. Caching Cants got a milestone, number 5,000 this past weekend. Congrats. That's awesome.
And he's so past that now.
5140. Wow, that's a busy weekend.
Yeah, it is.
No kidding.
yes.
Heather has learned to cast the podcast to their big TV. Our apologies to
That's right.
you for
I was
having
going to say, boy, you can see every blemish on my face with that
Yeah.
one.
Well, you wouldn't know it from Wits End tonight, but we both got upgraded cameras, so you probably see a little more, and we're sorry about that.
Wits End is not using it tonight, but
No.
Correct.
Heather also signed a cache today that Laura and I had signed not long ago. A film canister and a guardrail cache in Scappoose. Oh, it's Scappoose, Oregon. I remember that series. I believe that's a challenge series
Scappoose.
that we enjoyed finding. So congrats. Good job.
Who thought of that name?
That was October 2023 we found those. So it wasn't that long ago, or it was a while ago, but probably because their challenge caches don't get found that often.
So,
Scappoose
just
is
out of
just-
curiosity, June 6th, what cache did you find last year? You just happen to know? Oh, yes, I found a cache.
Well, no, it's just because I remember that road trip, and I'll tell you why I remember that road trip
Oh,
and
okay.
why I remember the time.
I'm just
of
giving
year.
you a hard time, but now I want to hear.
And it may not have exactly been October, but it was in that region. It was in the fall, and we were doing a road trip to go find the the Trolls, the Pacific Northwest
Mm.
Trolls. And there's one not far from Scappoose. And that was the southern end of our road trip. And we were like, well, if we're going to be in this area, why don't we stay overnight? We'll spend an extra day in the area. We'll go get the troll, but we'll do some caching in the area as well. It's a beautiful area. And where we stayed, we didn't realize that at the time until we stayed there. We stayed in a community that has the nickname of Halloween Town.
Oh, interesting.
Because the Disney film and sequel, Halloween Town and Halloween Town 2, were filmed in that community. So if you ever want to just really enjoy some quality Disney programming,
In October.
definitely,
Mhm.
definitely Halloween Town.
Okay. I didn't even know those movies existed.
Yeah, and there's
I
a
had,
reason
I had
you didn't know
forgotten
those
that they
movies
existed until I was reminded of them.
There you go. But anyways, it was a fun trip. That's why I remember. So as soon as I saw Scappoose, it just all the synapses connected. I'm like, oh, what a fun trip. And a beautiful area, beautiful part of Oregon.
Nice. It must have been the 35 millimeter series.
Yes, probably.
That's a relatively small cache.
Yeah. Well, little tiny ammo cans.
Filmy.
Here you go, Wits End. You get to read this one.
The name Scappoose is derived from the Scapus, also Skipus, a Chinookan village on the west side of the Multnomah Channel.
Nice. Look at that. Captain
Do you-
Cold Read.
Do you guys realize what just happened? That was completely cold red. He had no idea that was coming. He couldn't see that ahead of time. Read it right off the screen without a hesitation.
Yeah, and there's no way of knowing whether I pronounced them correctly or not.
Oh, well, of course you did.
I just
Oh,
throw
we
it out
assume
there
you did.
confidently and
Yeah.
move on.
No,
And
I think
I
you
just
did.
sit here and go, how did he do that? And I have problems with like, thank you, Scott. Scott.
Scott-ta-ta.
Oh,
Fun stuff. What else we got?
fantastic. Guys, I've had so much fun tonight. You
Then
know,
we better stop. You're not allowed
who
to have
knew
any more.
numbers were so much fun because kids
Climax
love a
did.
good chart and graph.
Yeah, it's like when I first started down this rabbit hole, I was actually checking facts on numbers. It's like, okay, what can I do with these numbers? And
Of course you were.
There weren't any primes, were there?
no, but I'm sure you've heard that 2025 is a square number.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because since it's 45 squared, 45 also being a triangular number, which is the digits 1 through 9 added up, which 45 features prominently in a lot of Sudoku puzzles. So
Huh.
it's just this whole kind of avalanche thing that I fell into.
As you do.
And you
Yes.
didn't tell us until now.
No, it's an after show sort of thing. It wasn't on topic.
Oh, I have a challenge from Bryling. How do you pronounce BANFF? That's
Throat warbler mangrove.
Bravo Alpha November Foxtrot Foxtrot, of course. It's all caps, so it must be an acronym.
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more little fact there. Yeah, from Heather. Today's date, 1/9/25 are all squares too. There you go, IMAX. There's one for you.
I
Hey,
knew
I'll
there was
take
something
it.
odd about today.
Yeah.
Well, it was a very odd day.
All right. Good times, good friends. Limax, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Folks, and until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.